For the Detroit Lions and their fans, the loss against the Dallas Cowboys left an extremely bitter taste in the mouth. But that loss might just also have a silver lining to it. We're going to talk about it in today's episode, folks, so stay tuned.
We used to be a team no one respected. We used to be a team no one feared. That was then. This is now.
First victory of the year on the line. Goff's got it. Back, looks, throws, end zone. Yes! Caught!
You know who we are.
10, 5, end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions!
And you know where to find us. We won't be far. We'll be on your front porch waiting for you. We are the New Era Lions. And
we are driven by Detroit.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving in right now. But before we dive into those that are returning my show, my loyal subscribers and viewers, I just want to say thank you all for your view, your support, and your patronage. It absolutely means the world to me that I have such loyal subscribers, and I'm thankful for each and every one of y'all. And to those that are tuning into my show for the very first time, I just want to say thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for giving my show a shot, and I hope you all enjoy the content. But even more so, I hope to gain you all as subscribers if I've earned and deserved it. And more importantly, to everybody, I just want to say, God bless. I hope you all are having a great day. And with that, let's dive into the show. So, here's the thing, folks. As hard as it is to believe, we are officially in the final week of the 2023 regular season for the NFL. I know, it's crazy, because it literally seems no more than maybe a couple of moments ago like we were in week 1. But there's been a lot of football in between there and then. There's been a lot of stuff that's happened. And it's just crazy to believe that we're already at this point. But we are. And for us Lions fans, it has definitely been a very, very fun ride because you got to think about it. The Lions, they've already secured a playoff spot. They've already secured a playoff game, which means they've either got a number 4, number 2, number 1 seed, or number 3 seed. Pardon me, I overthrew that one. And the reason why is because we have the number 3 seed right now. So there's a lot of things going for the Lions. Like, there's a lot of good things going for us. Now, I understand. Like I said in my intro, that Dallas game is going to haunt Lions fans for a long time, and for all the wrong reasons. And for me, it's just like, listen, there's nothing you can do about it now. But I'm going to say this. As much as us Lions fans hated that Dallas game, as much as we were pissed off about that Dallas game, let's just take some, solace in the fact that, in my honest opinion, there's at least one silver lining from that game. And here's what it is. In my honest opinion, the Lions are going to take that loss in Dallas and they are going to use it as fuel. They're going to use it as motivation. And they're going to take that motivation, they're going to take that fuel, and they're going to extract some serious vengeance on the NFL and any opponents that they come up across until either they get to a Super Bowl, which I don't know if that's going to happen or not, or until they get eliminated. My whole point is this. The Lions got their fuel. They got their motivation. And as much as I hate about how we got it, the point of the matter is it couldn't have come at a better time. Because think about this, folks. We're at that point in the year where these players, they're starting to get tired. They're starting to wear out. And I'm not saying that, our players are getting that way, but it's like, listen, at this point now you need a little bit more than just the physical, like, hey, we're going to go out there and we're going to do battle. No, you need something to kind of give you that second effort, that second charge, so to speak. Now, Lions fans, Lions players, we've got that because, hey, we won our first division championship in 30 years, but it's like, okay, need a little bit more. Want a little bit more, so that way when we go into the playoffs, we are firing on all cylinders. And as much as I hate to say it, that Dallas game, I think, provided that motivation. It provided that fire. It provided that fuel. And you want to know why I think that? Let's think about this. Go back to that media session that Dan Campbell had a couple of days ago. Dan Campbell, first and foremost, already stated that, number one, he and the team were not going to let that game, deter them from what they were trying to do. They weren't going to let the controversial ending, get them down. Pretty much, they were like, listen, we still have goals. We still have plans. We still have things that we are set out to do. And the one thing about what Dan Campbell said that truly told me that this was the mindset that the team was going to have is Dan Campbell said himself, he's like, listen, I am running on pure octane. Now, what the hell is octane? For those that don't know what it is, it's a liquid. It's a clear liquid that has the ability to burn and has the ability to explode, much like gasoline, but only better. The point of the matter is this. You kind of take that imagery that Dan Campbell was talking about, pure octane. Imagine this. Dan Campbell, we know, is a very motivational speaker. We know that this is a guy that you literally walk into a room and you instantly get fired up. You are energized. You are ready to rock and roll. You are ready to go through a brick wall for this man. This is a guy that, as he said, is running on pure octane. This is a guy that he probably didn't say it and he wouldn't say it, but I guarantee you this. He's got a fire burning in him right now because he is pissed about what happened in that Dallas game. And that fire is not going to just carry him in this Minnesota game. It's not just going to carry him through that. It's going to carry him until we get all the way through the playoffs. Because I guarantee you this right now. Dan Campbell is taking that negative from that game and he is turning it into a huge positive. I guarantee you that. Because you got to think about this. Despite the fact that the Lions already locked up the number 3 seed, and they already have a home playoff game, Dan Campbell stated as well that despite all that, the starters are going to start. They are going to play in the season finale against the Vikings. Now, here's the thing. Why are we going there? Why are we going to have the starters start? Well, there's a couple of reasons for this. Number one, there's 3 reasons, like I said. The first reason is you want to keep the players in that game mindset. You want to keep them in that game speed rather than taking them off the field for a week, kind of slowing everything down, letting them have a chance to rest. You want to keep them in that attack mode. You want to keep them in that play now mode. That's why you have them out there, because I know there were a lot of Lions fans that were like, well, is it really a smart idea to have our starters out there in a game where it's like, listen, even if we win, we're not guaranteed to get the number 2 seed. We're just having a shot to do it. And it's like, yes, it does make sense because it's like, listen, keep the starters out there so they're constantly in the win mode. I understand there's the risk of injury, but let's be fair and honest here. The risk of injury is every freaking week. Just because we're in week 18 versus week number 4 doesn't make it any less prevalent. It just might make it a little bit more hurtful if it happens. And I understand that is a prevalent risk, but it's like, listen, I think keeping the starters out there is a much better decision than letting them sit. Now, that was reason number 1. Reason number 2, you got to think about this. Even if the Lions don't get the number 2 seed, they do tie a very important Lions franchise record of getting 12 wins. The current Lions franchise record for total wins in the season is 12 wins, set back in 1991. It would be a pretty important accomplishment if the Lions could retie that record in 2023. So that is a really important thing in its own right. But just think about this, folks. Think about this. If the Lions do win against the Minnesota Vikings, which I do believe that they will, but just think about this. We win against Minnesota, and by some grace of a miracle, God smiling down on us, both Philly and Dallas lose. We've now got the number 2 seed. We have the second best seed in the playoffs. That right there sets up a whole different set of avenues. It sets up a whole different set of scenarios to where the Lions could, in my honest opinion, actually kind of ride everything in their favor all the way up to the championship game. That is something that for me is a huge, huge thing. And I guarantee you Dan Campbell and the rest of the Lions are thinking the exact same thing. You get that number 2 seed, you are in a much better position to compete going deep into the playoffs. So that's why you keep the starters out there. But then, number 3. Like I said earlier, and this is where we're going to, again, re-emphasize this point and dive deeper and deeper into this video. It's to start the revenge tour against the NFL. I'm telling you this right now. These players can say that they're over. Dan Campbell can say that he's over. I guarantee you this right now. That's purely for the cameras. I guarantee you in the locker room, they are not over it. I can guarantee you that as a former player. When you feel slighted by the refs, you feel slighted by somebody who you think didn't do the right thing, and they're just going to now try and blame you for it, you do not let that go. In fact, you're like, oh really? You think that it's our fault? You're going to blame us? You're going to turn this around on us? Okay, now you've lit a fire. Now you've awoken the beast. Now you have literally awoken a sleeping monster. Because it's like, listen, it was one thing when the NFL got the call wrong and cost the Lions the game. That's number 1. But then when the NFL wanted to come out and then blame the Lions for it, as I said in a previous episode, I'll put that episode back up at the top, but wanted to blame the Lions for it, it's like, okay, here. Now you up the ante. Now instead of just saying, okay, bad call, you know what, it cost you the game, now you're trying to turn it around on us and saying, we tried to cheat. We tried to cheat. That's what you're trying to say, NFL. You're trying to say the Lions tried to cheat. And I'm telling you this right now. There is no way under this God's green earth that Dan Campbell would ever try to cheat in a football game. That is not anywhere close to his character. And to insinuate that is it is an offense of the worst degree. It's an offense against Dan Campbell. It's an offense against the Lions. The Lions are not going to try and cheat. Why would they try and cheat when they've been so successful this year? That makes no literal damn sense. That's why I'm saying the Lions got all the motivation they needed with not only the loss against Dallas, but then the NFL decided to come out later and say, oh yeah, you know what? We think the Lions were trying to be deceitful on that game, on that play. Well, of course they were trying to be deceitful. It's a trick play. The whole intent of the play is to be deceitful. But then you want to say, well, it wasn't because of the play design. It was because of the fact that they were trying to deceive the refs so that way they could gain an unfair advantage and cheat in the game. That's going somewhere else completely different. So that's why I'm saying, you keep the starters in there for all three of those reasons. And it all is going to pay out in my honest opinion. Because now, you have to think about it. After that heart-crushing loss that we're talking about, that I just talked about for, a couple of moments, you have to think about it. Like I said, the Lions, the fans, anything associated with the Lions, we're livid. We are literally pissed. And we are hot under the collar, and we are wanting to extract that pound of flesh. And the first act of doing it is getting vengeance. That's the first act. And who's the first actor and the first team that's up on the docket? That's the Minnesota Vikings. That's a team that the Lions have a lot of experience playing against. That is a team that we have a lot of knowledge of how to play against. Because think about it. Only 2 weeks ago we played against the Vikings in their home stadium. We beat them 30-24. But if you go even further past that, well, this is a team we play twice every year. We have a lot of knowledge. We have a lot of experience playing this team because we know what to expect from them. However, though, we have to think about it, though, in one different aspect, because there are some circumstances that have changed since that game 2 weeks ago. And here are the circumstances. First and foremost, this is a do-or-die game for Minnesota, because you got to think about it. The only way they even hold on to their playoff abilities is they have to win the game against the Lions. If they lose, they're done. So they have to win against the Lions just to hold on to a playoff ability. Then they've got to hope and pray like hell that the Packers, Seahawks, and Saints all lose. So they have to have 4 things go their way just to get into the playoffs. So this is a do-or-die moment for the Vikings. So it's not like they're just going to roll over and let us, walk all over them. But that's going to make it even more sweeter for us Lions fans and for the Lions in general. Because you got to think about it. When you're playing a game against an opponent, while it's good to beat down on them, you want to make sure they actually gave you your best shot and you still destroyed them. It's no fun beating up on a dead animal, so to speak. So for me, it's like, while we know the Vikings are not going to lay down to the Lions, do remember this also. The Vikings literally just got thumped by the Packers in their home stadium 33-10. The Lions have a much stronger offense than what the Packers do. And again, let's understand something here. This offense, like I've been saying with this whole episode, much like the entire team, is motivated as hell to go into that postseason and going to do so, in my opinion, with a dominating performance. Because you have to think about this. If the Lions can get this game against the Vikings, they're going to have a huge springboard to then jump into the postseason. So, I'm going to just say this right now. Think about this. I just talked about how the Packers thumped the Vikings in that last game. Go back to that game. Take a look at what those players did. Jordan Love completed 24 of 33 for 256 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, with a 125.3 passer rating. Absolutely carved them up. And that was on their home turf. Then you go to Aaron Jones. 20 carries for 120 yards for 6 an average a carry. Our offensive line is much stronger than the Packers. We have two really good running backs, better than my opinion than Aaron Jones. And then you got to think of this. Who was the leading receiver for the Packers? A guy by the name of Bo Melton. He's no Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's no Sam Laporta. He's none of the guys that we have. And yet Bo Melton goes out there and he has 6 catches for 105 yards, 17.5 an average a catch, and 1 touchdown. Oh, and by the way, Jordan Love had no sacks in that game either. So in my honest opinion, it's like, listen, we have the better offensive line, we have the better offense in general, and we're going to be at home. Yeah, I'm feeling really good about our chances here. I'm not trying to sound smug, I'm not trying to sound proud, and I'm not trying to sound cocky, but it's like, listen, that Dallas game, along with the fact that we're going to be at home, I'm telling you this right now, this is going to be a good game to watch. Now, like I just said, the Lions have always played better, not even better, immensely better at home for the offense. Now, the question for some people is going to be, well, what about the defense here? Well, again, I like to give flowers. I like to give credit where credit is due. Let's be fair here. Aaron Glenn has gotten this defense to play immensely better over the last 3 weeks. Probably the best it's played over a 3-week span, probably since week 3 or week 4 when we went against the Packers and the Falcons. And you think about it, over the last 3 games, we've garnered 7 turnovers. We've allowed 20 points on average in the last 3 games. We've got 9 sacks in the last 3 games. And if you think about it, we're averaging only 54 yards given up on the ground in the last 3 games. But, here's the big but. We've also given up 330 yards on average through the air in the last 3 games. So great, we're getting turnovers. Great, we're limiting points. Great, we're getting sacks. Great, we're stopping the run like we've always been doing. But we can't seem to stop the damn passing game. Think about it. In the last 3 games alone, we gave up 411 yards passing, 223 yards passing, and 345 yards passing. I know that might not be what the actual team stats are. I'm not counting the sacks. I'm talking about what the actual quarterback through. That is a lot of yardage through the air. It's almost 1,000 yards over the last 3 games through the air. That's a problem. So I understand why some people might be concerned about the defense. But again, you got to think about this too. While the defense has had a problem in terms of the passing element, let's think about this here for a minute, shall we? The Lions are also going to be getting some help here to kind of correct this chronic problem. And I don't foresee that this chronic problem is going to continue to have issues once we get into the playoffs. And here's the reason why. Like I said, we're about to get reinforcements, folks. Think about this. All these recent roster moves that we've been seeing have been to make space for players that we're going to get back. Take a look at the recent practice reports. C.D. Deuce, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, has been a full participant in practice for the last 2 straight practices. He's not going to only get activated. He's going to play in this game against the Vikings. I guarantee it. I would be shocked beyond all hell if he didn't play in this last game. And we already know that Aleem McNeil's coming back. And it would not surprise me that in the wild card round, we get freaking James Houston back as well. You're talking about 3 guys that are going to affect all 3 levels on some part of the defense. Because again, what is James Houston? He's an edge rusher / linebacker. He's going to help out in the pass rushing element. You got Aleem McNeil. He's going to continue to help up in the middle in terms of the running component and also helping to get some push on the interior of that offensive line from the defense. And then you get C.D. Deuce back. That dude is literally the bullhorn of that defense. He is going to provide all the motivation necessary for that defense to play at its top element. So again, you're getting all these reinforcements. You've got this silver lining of motivation, this anger that is going to be coming from that Dallas game. And what do we know about anger? If you know how to use it properly, anger gives you clarity. It gives you focus. It gives you motivation. It gives you drive. What you have to do is you have to find somebody, either yourself or somebody that can do it very well, to focus and harness that anger, to harness that animosity, and then turn it into something that you can use for your benefit. That's what Dan Campbell is going to do. He is going to take that anger. He's going to take that bitterness. He's going to take that animosity, and he's going to turn it on for the Lions. He's like, listen, remember what happened in that game just a week ago? Take all that pent-up frustration and use it these next couple of weeks on any opponent that we play. Because if you do, we are going to play great football. That is my point here. That's why I'm saying this starts the revenge tour for the Lions, because I guarantee you this, they're not only pissed off at the refs, they're not only pissed off at the NFL, they want to extract their pound of flesh. They want to get their revenge. Vengeance will be theirs. I'm telling you this right now. I'm feeling it. Whether or not it happens, I don't know. And this might come back to, blow up in my face a little bit. But for me, it's like, listen, this is what I'm seeing Dan Campbell want to do. He wants to take all that happened in Dallas and he wants to use it to his benefit. This is the way you do it. So for me, I'm looking forward to what I see not only on the field Sunday against the Vikings, I'm looking forward to what I'm going to be seeing when we get into the playoffs because, oh my Lord, first and foremost, I'm looking forward to potentially getting our first playoff victory in 30 years, but I'm looking forward to seeing this Lions football team play playoff football. And I'm looking forward to seeing it play with this kind of anger that is now being focused and harnessed for good. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens, but it's coming soon, folks. It's coming real soon. But until that time, I just want to say thank you all for watching another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage all to watch the next episode I got coming at the end of this one. I also encourage all, please, to do one of these three things. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past, you forgot to do so at the time, again, I just want to say, please, 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 subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. And again, if you've subscribed in the past, you forgot to do so, or you just subscribed and not had a chance to do so, again, subscribe, but also make sure that you turn on that bell notification icon as well, so that way you never miss any more content that I push out. So that way you're always coming back here and you're always in the know-how. Again, subscription numbers are always going up, but we want to make sure you guys get back here so that way we can continue to have great discussions about football and of our Detroit Lions. And to help in that endeavor, I also encourage y'all, please, to share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere you want to. Just share it so that way we can continue to spread the channel, continue to help it grow, and I'm ever so thankful for each and every one of you that do it. And with that being said, I just want to again say thank you all for watching the content. I hope you all enjoyed it immensely, and I hope to have gained subscribers. If you've come back and you subscribed, welcome all to the family. If you still haven't subscribed, hopefully I'll get a chance to do so again in the next episode. But until that next episode, I just want to say God bless to everybody, and until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.